Welcome to another edition of Pittsburgh Sportsline. Thanks for watching our show. We're hearing people are watching us in the north, the south, the city, Nemacolin, everywhere. So we appreciate it. We got intern John, the intern here, doing a nice job on the camera. Aaron Ward and Devin, he's still waiting for that baby. So we hope the baby comes soon. Dave Cable, thanks a lot for letting us out there, and thanks for editing that community day and getting that going. We appreciate it. We have a great show here with a lot of great sports here, and we're going to get into that very shortly. I'm Al Levine, the Talking Machine. We got Chip the Prophet Hayner, Smoking Jim Frazier. Little Z is still in his Master Plumbers class, and he'll be gone till about November. So for all of his fans, we haven't replaced them yet. I got a few on the list right now, and they're almost in. Next week we should have somebody to fill in for Little Z, but just have no fear. He can't lose his job due to an injury. I'm going to go back to Cowers era, thanks to Smoking Jim. So whoever gets on board now, Little Z will be back before Thanksgiving. And now we're going to start with what's on our mind. Smoking Jim Frazier, what's on your mind?
Thanks, Al Levine. And if you want the green, you got the C. Levine.
All right.
Hey, if you guys want to know what a starting NFL quarterback looks like, this is a great picture of Terrell Pryor, former Jeanette Parade All-American, #1 high school player in the country. All Big Ten at Ohio State, 2-time BCS MVP, and now the starting quarterback for the Oakland Raiders. I expect him to be in a Pro Bowl game this year. Also, this is my high school article, top 28 high school players in the WPIL. First 5 is from Gateway. Also got Grim from Bethel Park in here.
Nice.
And I got some great picks.
Get a close-up of that signature. We're Smoking Jim on the byline.
Yeah, it's up top there. But also, good sports weekend coming up. Look for Johnny Manziel, my new favorite college player, to beat up on Alabama again at Texas A&M. And also, I gave you guys a Spotlight Player of the Week a couple of weeks ago. I predicted he would break all of RG3's records at Baylor, single-season record. Well, the first 2 games, they scored 69 and 70 points, and he passed for Bryce Petty passed for over 300 yards in each of those games, so he's well on pace to breaking RG3, the most arrogant guy in the National Football League, selfish guy in the National Football League's records. And lastly, look for Canelo Alvarez to knock out Money Mayweather, and that's what's on my mind.
Wow. Smoking Jim, you do know how to pick them. I can't wait to see the fight Saturday night. So thanks again. All right, Chip the Prophet Hayner, what's on your mind?
Well, first thing that's on my mind, and I'm sure this was a typo because I noticed that Eric McAllister's name wasn't on your top 28.
It's just
Eric, we're
seniors.
sorry.
It's just seniors. It's just top
Yeah,
28
yeah.
seniors.
No,
He's a
just
junior.
poking a little fun at my friend Jim. But what is on my mind? What do you think is on my mind, Alan Levine?
Pirates?
20 years of losing has ended. Okay?
Yay.
Let's dig a hole, bury the streak, shovel some dirt on top of it, and forget it ever happened. The Pittsburgh Pirates won their 82nd game last night, guaranteeing them a winning season. Now we can focus on what's really important in baseball, the pennant race, the run for the playoffs. We've got 20 games left, and the Pirates are well on their way. And, being that this is Pittsburgh Sportsline, and I know we're going to get into each of our local teams separately later, but I just want to give a couple of shouts out to recognize our teams. Tomorrow, the Pittsburgh Penguins go back to training camp. Tomorrow's the physicals. You know what the Pittsburgh Penguins players were doing the last few days? They were hand delivering season tickets to the season ticket holders for this season. They showed saw a picture in the paper of Sidney Crosby going to a gentleman's home, who's been a Penguin season ticket holder for 40 years, and he got his season tickets hand delivered by Sid the Kid. Pretty classy act for the Pittsburgh Penguins. Well-run organization. And you know what? The sting from the loss, this being swept by the Boston Bruins, is gone. The new season, new attitude.
Right.
We're going in a new direction, and the Penguins are going to win the Stanley Cup this year. Also, Sunday was probably the worst example of Steeler football any of us have ever seen. Okay? And, let's acknowledge that fact. But I'm going to go out on a limb, and I'm going to give my upset special for the week. And I believe the Steelers will handily beat the Cincinnati Bengals Monday night. Yes, sir. There's a lot of proud men on that Pittsburgh Steelers roster. They've got great coaches. They've got great players. And you know what? They're going to learn from their mistakes from this past weekend. They're going to put together a running game. They're going to put some points on the board. And the Bengals are going to become the Bungles once again. And they're not going to have a chance of winning the North Division. But that's what's on my mind, Alan.
Chip, that was tremendous. I have nothing to say. He covered. We didn't even talk ahead of time about any sports. He forgot his phone holder, so that's what's on my mind. And I gave it to him. Don't lose it again. I had it for a whole week.
No, I won't. But we're going to talk more in depth about all of our teams.
Hold on, let me see. Okay, talk Penguins. I posted that on Facebook. Pirates. All right, the streak is over. Clemente looked down on us, and divine intervention there. No 21 on that. I'm happy with that. Football. That was one of the worst sports days that I had in history.
Yeah, it was bad.
I was using a remote control, Chip. So I went from bad to worse, then worse to worser, because I saw plays that I never saw a pro football team make on both sides, baseball and football. Yeah. So we'll leave it at that and we'll revisit. Mm-hmm. But I'm still optimistic. I like the 82 wins. I do have to mention the streak since it was back in 92 and everybody's been broadcasting all of that stuff and the stats and everything else. So it's over. This is a pennant race for the generation that doesn't know it and the generation that forgot. You have your ups and downs. It's a 162-game season. That's why they play it. And we'll see what happens. They are one game back, and that's what counts. They can be tied up possibly tonight. That's how quick it could be. Yeah. And then you wouldn't cry. So we'll cover that. Mm-hmm. I wanted to thank everybody. There was a community day in Bethel Park. A lot of people gave shout-outs that they liked our show. They watch our show. They've seen us. And we interviewed about 30, 40 people. That'll be coming out later on this week or next week. They'll put that out. So I did want to mention that. And the Volunteer Fire Company on Brightwood, on October 6th, rain or shine, there's an open house car cruise. Now, you got to go there, support the volunteer firemen. They help our community. They're here all the time. They also have a special. $2 will be donated to the volunteer firemen. There's a code. When you go to the Buggy Bath Car Wash, Smoking Jim, when you get your vehicle washed,
it's not on Route 88.
The code is 1234. It's a very complex one. You get $2 off. You save $2 on a free Rain-X, and $2 get donated to the volunteer firemen. So it's a great cause. So here we go. Now we're going to go to another segment called Revisit What's on Our Mind. So let's kick it off, guys, with what you want to revisit here. Chip?
Well, I looking at Jim's, top 28. It's funny how it's gateway heavy.
What's the record, though? What's the record?
No biases on Jim's part. But, the one thing I did want to revisit, all the accolades that he was throwing at Terrell Pryor. But let's also not forget about, the young man Terrell Pryor also was responsible for, bringing down the Ohio State program, the firing of a coaching legend in the name of Jim Tressel. And, by the way, speaking of that, was that picture of that starting NFL quarterback? There was another NFL quarterback that played against him on Saturday that was a little bit more fortunate. Andrew Luck beat him on Sunday.
You got everything covered.
But Terrell, we wish Terrell a successful and profitable pro career. Unless, of course, he comes to Pittsburgh, and then, we'll sick David DeCastro on him.
Just paint who he's supposed to hit. Paint that. Hey, Chip, late breaking news. There's only 5 gateway picks out of the terrific 28.
Yeah, but notice how they're the first 5. That's the one word that Jim knew how to spell without hitting spell check. Gateway.
but Chip will like this. You didn't see this, Chip. I got the MVPs for each classification, and thanks to you, you see in Quad A, who I got is winning the MVP at the end of the season in Quad A.
Yes,
Your guy.
and I just found out this young man's
Mention his
name
name.
last night, J.J. Constantino. I watched the playoff game between Central Catholic and Upper St. Clair last fall. And, Central Catholic didn't play its best game, but the one thing that struck me about was, was this quarterback for Central Catholic. Big, tall kid, 6'4", 6'5", and he just had a big arm. And, if he would have, let's just put it this way: Upper St. Clair, had a better day than Central Catholic, because I don't want to disparage any of these young men.
Right,
they're
they're
playing
all
their
trying.
hearts out.
Yeah.
But I looked at, and I came to Jim the next week, and I said, this kid, he is going to be a big league quarterback. I said, we'll probably see him in the pros, and then I found out last night he signed a letter of intent with Florida State. So, we may see him again playing in Pittsburgh down at Heinz Field when the Seminoles come up to whoop up on the Pitt Panthers again.
Hey, we didn't even get the Pitt talk yet.
Yeah.
No, but congratulations to these young men that are out there like Smoking Jim picks, MVPs, and everything else. He does a heck of a job there. I know I read the article from top to bottom, buddy, and I posted it out there on the internet for you.
Thank you, El
Getting
Levine, the
rave
talking
reviews
machine.
on that.
Appreciate
we joke with Jim, but Jim's a very accomplished writer, winner of a Golden Quill Award. And, we definitely have a lot of respect for his opinions, but we like to give him a business too.
Hey, thanks, Chip.
Actually, we're just trying to keep them humble a little bit. And if you want to call in, 412-831-3304. You can call in and talk sports with us. We're actually not as smart as we seem, because a lot of people are saying we're very smart. So you can call in. We'll talk to you. No problem.
Maybe we get a call from a master plumber.
You know what? I'm hoping that master plumber will call in. He gets a break. Wait a second.
Oh, he's on Facebook now.
No, this is a dumb phone. In about 10 minutes, I think he gets his break. Sorry, you guys got the smartphones.
Yeah, but my phone's smarter than I am, Alan. So
Okay,
let's not lose
we'll
sight
go.
of that.
We'll pass on that. Now we go to our segment with Sips Sports Bar. You guys got to show up. We had a great crowd last night. We had 2 NFL Monday Night Football games that we didn't pay attention to that much, but there's about 9 screens, nice flat screens. Brandy and Kelly are there for serving food, drinks, conversation. Just a great atmosphere there. We had some great guests. We had 2 Erics on the show. One is Eric McAllister, a junior starting center for Central Catholic. Very nice family, comes from a very nice sports family, religious family, and he also plays jazz drums.
Wow.
So he's quite the impressive young man, has about a 3.2 grade point average.
Jim, has Eric made a decision on where he's going to college yet, or is it still up in the air with him?
Still up in the air.
Okay.
Keep an eye on this young man.
I'll tell you what, he's got a grip that can crush your hand.
Yeah,
no
he got
question of
some
a doubt.
forearms, huh?
Whew,
Yeah.
That's a strong young man.
And he's only a junior. So we'll see. And speaking of strong, our master photographer, Bill Boyce, has a son named Eric Boyce, who's just a legend. He's got Hall of Fame trophies. He even invented, like Bruce Lee invented his type of kung fu. So did Eric Boyce.
He's
He
a
has his
martial
own
arts
school.
master.
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
he's a master. And he got this approved through an 80-year-old agency that they have to approve your style of fighting. So that was impressive. He was on the show.
Developed it in the basement of DeRoseburg.
Yes. And you can go to his school. We have the information. We just posted that video on Pittsburgh Sportsline on Facebook. You can check it out. You know, we had some great guests. We also had Roy Zeke Razika. He's the manager of Jessica Lee. He was on there telling us stories about who he grew up with in New Jersey, and he didn't tell us a couple others who have to be back on the show, because he did save a couple others on how he even met Jessica Lee. Jessica Lee was on. Check her out on Thursday nights. She has Jazz Networking. It starts at 6 o'clock at Little E's. That's 909 Liberty Avenue downtown, 6 o'clock till 8. Great networking, great music. Smoking Jim had a goal this year that he wanted to get her autograph. Mission accomplished there. Thanks to Jessica Lee for showing up and showing support for our show. We appreciate it. Sips has their specials. Sunday night's trivia night. Monday night's Pittsburgh Sportsline night. Tonight is Campides night, 50-cent pizza, a slice. Go up there. Wednesday night is Smoking Jim. Ladies' night, dollar drinks. His reputation precedes him. They talk about him every week after that. Thursday night, 25-cent wing night. You got karaoke on Fridays, Saturday entertainment, happy hour 4 to 7. I think I did enough promos. Go up to Sips Sports Bar, free parking. We'll see you there next week. 7:30, we start broadcasting. Come on up for the Steeler Cincinnati game and see if Chip's right about his profit prediction.
Well, you know what? I was right about the Pirates, wasn't I? People were laughing at me in February when I said the streak would end this year. Remember that.
No doubt. Hey, and the New York Giants, that's where you earned the profit moniker here back then.
Yeah, every once in a while you hit one out of the park. But sometimes you swing and you miss.
All right, speaking of hitting it out of the park, we're going to go to Fiction and Fact from Smoking Jim's Almanac.
Hey, thanks, Al Levine, the talking machine. Got a kind of pretty special one. This past Wednesday, I got a telephone call from former Super Bowl MVP and still the only black quarterback to win a Super Bowl, Doug Williams, looking for local talent. It kind of took me back a little bit. Me and Doug got a little bit of a history together. We co-emceed a banquet together here in Pittsburgh. A lot of people may not realize that the New Pittsburgh Courier, which is a predominantly black newspaper, and they were the ones, it was the USA Today, was a national newspaper back in the day. And they started to put out the Black College All-American team. And the guy that hid that was the sports editor at that time. His name was Bill Nunn.
Whoa.
And Bill Nunn would put that together, and then they would have the banquet here in Pittsburgh. And Bill Nunn was so successful doing that Mr. Rooney went up to him and says, hey, can you come work for us? And he became a scout for the Pittsburgh Steelers and started getting some of these unknown players from small black colleges.
Roy Jefferson.
Joe Gilliam, Dwight White, Elsie Greenwood, Mel Blount, John Stallworth, Donnie Shell, the list goes on and on.
And it's a Hall of Fame who's who, huh?
The Hall of Fame who's who, and after that, the banquet went to Atlanta. That's where the Black College All-American banquet is. Well, they had a special anniversary a few years back, and they wanted to bring it back to Pittsburgh for just 1 year to honor the Pittsburgh Courier. So I got a chance to MC that banquet with Doug Williams, and we had a good time, and all the guys.
What year was this?
I lose track of time. Let's say 5 years ago. But it was at the Weston William Penn.
This century.
And it was broadcast nationally on a national radio station, and got a chance to interview a lot of the legends. Billy White Shoes Johnson was one of the guys I interviewed, and of course all the players who used to play for the Steelers that played at the black colleges came back. Steve Air McNair, got a chance to interview him prior to him passing away. So it was a great time. So Doug Williams at that time was the scout, or he was player development guy for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and now he's the head coach of Grambling University. So we hope to send a few local players down to Louisiana and get an education.
Did he take over for the great Eddie Robinson?
Well, actually, when he did, and he didn't. When Eddie Robinson retired, when he passed away, Doug Williams came and he coached for about 4 or 5 years, and then he got an offer that he couldn't refuse with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And after about 10 years with Tampa, he came back to Grambling as a head coach, and he actually signed a pact. They can't go play for a national championship because Grambling and Southern University is their rivalry in Louisiana. They decide to play a game on Channel 11 every year, a national game.
Like an Army-Navy game.
Yeah, or like an Army and Navy game.
Isn't that Thanksgiving weekend?
I think so.
Yes,
it's
it
on
is.
TV, and I forget what it's called.
The name's escaping me
Yeah.
right now, but I've watched it more than once.
But so that's a nationally televised game, and they both, since they play that game, they're not eligible to go to any postseason. So it works out for them.
But I mean, it's a great game to see a lot of great talent. But I'll
Yeah.
tell you what, the talent isn't just seen on both football teams. You see each one of those marching bands.
It's
I'm going to
something.
tell you what, the performances they put on at halftime are second to none.
And the majorettes can shake it too.
Oh,
I thought we were talking
This is a family
football.
show. Boy, I had to talk off the air.
This is live. Cut that. Cut. Oh, we can't cut that. Thank you for your fiction and fact. I think there was a little fiction there, folks. We'll get the facts later. From Smoking Jim's Almanac. Thanks, Smoking Jim.
Thank you, sir.
All right, let's get the Chips trivia time.
Chips trivia time. Thanks, Alan. And that's great stuff, Jim.
Thanks.
I know they used to play that game all the time in the Superdome. I don't know if they still do. They still do.
Well, I don't know if it's in.
I
Superdome
know
or
it
not,
got
but
jammed up the one year when Katrina came in and
Yeah.
trashed the place. They had to move the location. But start off Chips trivia time with the trivia question. I think everybody can guess the answer to. September 9th, 2013. What significant event happened then?
That was a whole day ago,
The
Al.
streak ended. Okay, that was very good, guys.
And what were you doing then? What were you doing
I
then?
was watching. I was up at Sips Sports Lounge with my two friends, Alan
Okay.
Levine and Smoking Jim, entertaining some guests and doing our dog and pony act.
There you go.
But
Write
just
that
wanted
down.
to get some lighthearted, baseball trivia. Just to kind of lighten the mood a little bit. To start off, if anybody's ever heard of a gentleman named Jimmy Pearsall, Jimmy Pearsall became famous as a White Sox announcer. He was also a
Cuckoo for
baseball
Cocoa
player.
Puffs.
Yeah, he was cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. He was a baseball player, and he celebrated his 100th home run in Major League Baseball by running the bases backwards. Kind of a bit of a nut. On another note, Don Baylor, who's I believe is he in the Hall of Fame, and if he isn't, he should be. Don Baylor, in 3 different years, played for 3 different teams that made it to the World Series, which is
Really?
an interesting fact. I know 2 of them are the Red Sox and the Angels, and
Then you know 2 of them lost.
and I don't. There's been one player in baseball history that won the MVP for the World Series for a losing team. Oh, and that is also somehow tied to Pittsburgh trivia, and that happened in 1960, the year that Bill Mazeroski hit the home run.
He
that
didn't get
won
MVP?
No, he did not. Bobby Richardson won the World Series MVP for a losing team that year.
Wow.
That just shows you how little respect that the Pirates ever have gotten. Another Hall of Famer, Gaylord Perry. Everybody's familiar with Gaylord Perry.
Spitball.
Gaylord Perry used to put Vaseline on the ball. He used to scuff the ball. But Gaylord Perry, just to prove his manager wrong, he hit a home run after his manager said they'd put a man on the moon first. He said they'd put a man on the moon before he ever hit a home run. So
What year was that? Let's check that. Wait a
it
second.
had
Might
to
have
be
just
before
beat it.
1969.
Right, he might have just beat it.
I like that.
Okay, another interesting and useless fact that there is a pitcher in Major League Baseball that won a game and only threw 1 pitch. His name was Ken Ashton. He won a game by throwing 1 pitch. Came in to close out the game, threw 1 pitch. The guy hit fly ball out. Game over.
He hit it out the home run.
Yeah, another interesting fact. There was a pair of brothers who played Major League Baseball for different teams.
Brothers
They're-
or brothers?
Brothers.
Maternal brothers.
Okay.
They were called the Garbank brothers, and they finished a season with the exact same batting average.
Really?
First time that ever happened. Jack McCarthy threw out 3 runners at home plate in 1 inning. That's never been done before or since, I don't believe. In the 1965 All-Star Game, nobody had a single RBI.
Wow.
If that's possible, but that's what happened. Nobody had an RBI. 1 year, the Dodgers and the Cubs decided to make a trade, and they didn't trade a player for a player. They traded their minor league teams.
No. Are you serious?
That's
Yep.
nice.
Wow.
And, running down, I've got a couple more left. Joel Youngblood might be somebody that some of us may have heard of. He played in the 80s and everything. He recorded a hit for 2 different teams in 2 different cities on the same day.
Really?
And the way that happened, I believed he was playing for the Cubs. They played a daytime game. They traded him. He changed uniforms, went to the other team, and got a base hit in his only at bat.
Wow.
He was a pinch hitter later in the game. So that's kind of interesting. Have you heard of Warren Spahn?
Yes.
Warren Spahn was a Hall of Fame pitcher for the Boston Braves, Milwaukee Braves, whichever. He has as many career wins as he has hits.
Really?
In the Major League Baseball.
Warren Spahn. Wow.
He must have been a good hitter.
And last but not least, and believe this only happened one time, the Minnesota Twins one time turned 2 triple plays in the same game.
Wow.
How they got to name the Twins.
Now, they got the name the Twins because of the Twin Cities, Minneapolis and St. Paul.
And that was just on Aerial America. Check your TV listings for Aerial America.
That was
it was
a good
just
stuff,
on.
But,
Thanks, Chip.
just a little update on our football picks.
Let's go to the football picks.
The football picks last week, we each picked 2 games at random so that, none of us could do any studying or check the lines or the injury reports, or Jim couldn't check any of his, inside info. And
I don't know. He was looking pretty good.
So Jim ended up 1-1. He took the Steelers and the Denver Broncos. The Broncos won handily against the Ravens, and we all know what the Steelers did. Alan took the Patriots and the Vikings came up short against the Lions.
After that first play, I thought I was a winner.
And I lucked into the Houston Texans and the Seattle Seahawks. They both came out winners.
Wow.
And the thing that's interesting about that, when I went to bed last night, the Texans were losing 28-7. Now, how do you lose a 21-point lead at home in the NFL and end up losing the game? If anybody could do it, Phillip Rivers could do it. So they won on a last-second field goal to beat the Chargers 31-28.
Wow.
So so I started off the season strong with 2-0. Alan and Jim are 1-1, and a little later on the show we'll do our picks for this coming week.
Sounds like a plan there. All right. We've been talking, we'll talk Pirates in a second. With this Steeler game that happened, that was just so shocking for a first game. And how many times have you ever seen starters go down with injuries, that many in one game? I never remember 3 stars like that going out.
Well,
So, I mean, that's got to be trivia time there, Chip.
Yeah, and it is, and I think that you look at the injuries that have happened. I've spoken to Jim about this a number of times off the air. That with all the way that they've changed things because of the new collective bargaining agreement, and the lack of practice that these guys can actually do, they've got it to a point they're trying to make it a kinder and gentler NFL, and that's I don't understand that. Football's a violent game; it's a collision sport. It's not a contact sport, and and the players. I was noticing less injuries when they practiced more and hit more often than we're seeing now. And there's just been so much big rash of people just getting knocked out. And besides the fact that there was some pretty gruesome injuries for the Steelers, I mean they didn't play well at all. I mean they've got a brand new offensive line, they've got a brand new blocking scheme, and the only thing that's going to help them to be more cohesive is reps. And if football in shorts just doesn't seem to do it, they got to.
Well, the Steelers got help on the way. Jonathan Dwyer is back.
You know what? They listen to you. I was surprised that they listen to and watch our show. But you actually said, which I found it rare, that it was unfair how he got treated. He was actually mistreated. So I guess the Steeler Nation not only is watching it, but you have the Steeler brass.
HBO, help a brother out.
Well,
there you
know
go.
what, and this is
and you pointed it out here first.
And I trust Jim's eye for evaluating talent. And and he said that Jonathan Dwyer, had first round talent, but for various reasons he didn't get picked in the first round. But I'm hoping that maybe him getting cut and not getting signed by anybody and eventually re-signed by us puts the fire in his belly, because I think Jonathan Dwyer is, an amazingly talented young man. I just have always questioned his desire, and how many people get that opportunity, and to get that opportunity once and not to make the most of it. I find that kind of curious, to get a second chance and then to still kind of just sleepwalk through it. This is the third chance, man, and I really hope he does, because the Steelers need a running game, and I don't know if Le'Veon Bell is the answer, because apparently the coaches are really high on this young man, but we didn't see him in the preseason, and we haven't seen him yet. I don't know if this kid can play football or not. I mean, what he did in college is nothing like.
He didn't get hurt back then. That's the difference. He's hurt. But here's what I'm hoping is James Harrison rings a bell. How many times was he cut? At least 5 times from teams. So maybe your man Jonathan Dwyer will take a page out of James Harrison's book, and he'll have that fire, and maybe we'll get a few good years out of him. Maybe he can hit 1,000 yards this year without blockers.
Let me see the page out of the book. He ran for 800 yards in part-time duty to lead the team in rushing last year, and he led the team in rushing in preseason. Yeah, it seemed like he had a fire lit pretty good today.
Yeah, but what about mediocrity?
Yeah,
He didn't get 1,000. That's the magic number. He could have done that.
Also, Jim, and not like I want to talk badly of the young man, but the next blitz he picks up will be the first one.
He ain't trying to get hurt.
He needs to get fall down in front of him, make him trip over him or something. Because I'll tell you what, one of the things that was disturbing, more so, we talked about, Ben and, the whole key to our season. The people that got hurt, I'm sorry that these gentlemen got hurt. They were key parts of the team. Larry Foote, I know he's not one of Jim's favorite players, but still, he was a veteran linebacker, and he provided leadership to the defensive group. And Marquise Pouncey was this, he's an all-pro center. I mean, there's not a whole lot of centers that are better than him. But they got to keep Ben healthy, and they got to keep him from getting hit. And I don't, Ben gets hurt.
Well, let's mention
we're really up the creek.
What about Marcus Gilbert and the lack of skills he showed this past week? He looked like a turnstile there.
Yes, sir.
Well, he wasn't the only one.
No, but I mean, it was nonstop. That was part of the breakdown in the line. I used to like blocking and tackling on the offensive line. We're not even doing that this year. They stopped the blocking and tackling because Willie Colon's not there. So, I missed that, and that's part of the problem, not to be too crazy.
But, now we're laughing a lot and making jokes about the team, but what, there were some positive things that did happen on Sunday if you looked hard enough for them. The kid that came in and replaced Pouncey actually did a very nice job at center. If you notice, there wasn't a single fumbled snap. And he had practiced as a tight end all week because they were going to use him.
And our Al Levine, the talking machine, interviewed him at the basketball game.
He's a very nice young man, but he did have a couple of problems with the snap back 7 yards. He actually cost a couple plays. You didn't see the game, but there were 2 plays where
I was listening to what Ben was saying today.
Well, I'll just tell you, I watched the game because after we get a bad play, I'd go to the Buccos, who I'm all in on. I'd get a bad play there. It was terrible. So I happened to see 2 straight snaps when they're in a shotgun that were low, and Ben had to take his eye off the receivers down the field who were open. So that did cost us there. But for Beachum to come in cold, he's a hero to me. To come in there cold turkey.
And he's a good basketball player, too.
But,
he's very good as a basketball player.
Ground round to rebound.
Yeah, he's an athlete, and that showed that you do have some talent, and you're talking about a good point. The defense actually played a pretty good game, except for 42 runs that they had on them.
Well, but still, the defense only gave up 16 points, and if your defense is only giving up 16 points a game, you're going to win a lot of games. Yeah. But, I'm going to take a quote from one of Jim's favorite coaches, Bill Cowher.
Yes, sir.
And what Mr. Cowher used to say was, you're never as good as you think you are, and you're never as bad as people say you are.
That's true.
I think he stole that line.
That's good.
I think he stole that line off of somebody. That isn't an original. I think that's an old.
No, I told that was a Bill Cowher quote, but that was.
Well, he did say it, but I think somebody said it before.
Well, I'm sure 1,000 people said it before, but that's as far back. I'm not going that far back.
I'm going back.
So I think as bad as the game was, how much worse could it get? There's got to be an improvement this week, and I think that the coaches and the players they were humiliated, and they were humiliated on a national scale, and I think that we're going to find out that they're going to get they're come ready to fight.
Well,
on
the
Monday
silver
night.
lining is we're still in first place.
There is that
Because everybody lost.
Everybody lost.
Hey,
and-
there was another good point. Sweezum got hurt, and he kicked the ball that the receiver in the end zone didn't know what to do with it. It was actually 1 second that we got a, safety on. So they said 3 seconds. I don't think anybody's ever scored that quickly.
No.
But it was because of his pulled hamstring, and I'm not laughing. That's terrible. Now we signed another kicker just in case he can't kick. That's terrible.
Well,
on the first kick of the game.
That was awesome. And does it surprise you guys that Isaac Redman was out all preseason with a severe shoulder injury, and the first time he gets hit on the shoulder, he fumbles the ball at the goal line, which probably cost us the game as well.
Yeah, and that
the
really
momentum was unbelievable.
That was a game-changing play because at the time, we take that ball in there. It's a 9-0 game, and that completely changes the dynamics of that game. It changes all the calls, and what was that? Wasn't that the difference in the score of the game?
And then
They wouldn't
Coach
have been
Tomlin,
able to run as much.
then Coach Tomlin, who's benefiting from Cowher's teams and
Still.
coaches, he gets mad at Redmond and puts in 170-pound Lerard Stevens Howland, who's only a third down back to play every down, and he ends up getting hurt.
How was his blocking to you? How did
Oh,
he was
my
blocking?
goodness. Ben was one of his 6 sacks. They just run him over.
Like he wasn't there. That's a shame. I like him for a third down, and I like him for bubble screens, but no more this year.
No, and Felix Jones was conspicuous by his absence, and and I hearing the reasons why he was okay to play in the preseason. I mean, they were hemorrhaging, badly. I mean, come on, how much does he really have to understand? It's like, here, hand him the ball and say, don't get tackled. You know what I
good
mean?
point.
Just run for your life.
I was surprised when he didn't play much.
I hope they
He was
see him
studying the
play.
playbook, actually, on the sidelines. You should have looked down from your seats there, buddy.
Was he really?
But,
No, he should have been.
Moving on from the Steelers.
We're going to Bucko time here.
Bucko
The Bucko bandwagon is welcome aboard. You
Yeah.
can still come on board. There's plenty of seats.
Coming up to the last homestand of the Pirates for this year, we'll be attending 5 of those games. I'll be there Thursday night, Saturday night, next Tuesday.
We'll be
Friday
getting
and
live
Saturday.
reports from Chip.
Yeah,
He's
you
going to
will.
call in. We'll get a live report.
But I'll tell you what. I've watched the metamorphosis of this Pirate team. And I just think back to the year of 2010. That was the year when the Pirates were the absolute worst team in baseball, and I sat through quite a number of very, very painful experiences at PNC Park. The running joke that year when I would get tickets for the game is, we're going to go down to PNC Park, we're going to eat junk food and watch the Pirates lose. But that's not so much anymore. And Neil Huntington hired John Russell, and John Russell was from what baseball people tell me, John Russell was a great baseball guy. He was a horrible manager. He had no passion. He had no fire. He didn't inspire his players. And when they brought Clint Hurdle in, Clint Hurdle is a kind of a guy. The first time I listened to him talk, his first interview when he was hired in December of 2010, I was like, wow. I wanted to play for this guy, and he's done the job because this team has gone from 57 wins in 2010. 72 wins in 2011, 79 wins in 2012. Now we're sitting at 82.
Smoking Jim.
Okay, but he hasn't, he hasn't thrown tantrums. He hasn't demeaned his players. He hasn't taken them to tax and embarrassed them in the media. He's worked with these guys. He's given them motivation, and he's given them the belief that they can do this. They bought into the system, and it's kind of great to watch the team because the core group of this team is the same as it's been for the last 3 years, and we've watched them mature and develop, and we've added some key free agents. Neil Huntington, he's going to win the award for General Manager of the Year this year. The moves that he made in the offseason last year, bringing in Francisco Liriano, Russell Martin, bringing in A.J. Burnett and bringing in A.J. Burnett and Wandy Rodriguez last year and having their previous teams pay half their salaries.
That's amazing.
Was genius.
That
was genius, And, brought up...
and the renter players this year.
Yeah.
Look, you're paying 1 month, basically, to get these players, and you have some quality. Bird hasn't stopped hitting. He did have a little minor blip the other week, but we still drove in runs or was around for that. So.
And you know what? And these guys that they brought in, they addressed immediate needs that everybody was aware that the Pirates had. We needed somebody that could play right field, that could produce at the plate. We needed a number 5 hitter to bat behind Pedro Alvarez, which having somebody behind Pedro Alvarez who can hit and drive in runs, all of a sudden Alvarez isn't seeing all those curveballs. He's seeing better pitches, So they should make Alvarez better, and bringing in Morneau. He's a quality first. He was an American League MVP not very long ago. Now he did have a bad injury. He got beamed, and he had problems with double vision and stuff like that. And he's no longer the ball player he was then, but he's still a quality first baseman.
He did have a great August, 9 home runs. I just want to see him get 3 or 4 home runs. He's in a little minor slump right now, which that happens. And we need some power, just some timely hitting, because we still are the worst in driving runs in.
Right.
So, I mean, it's quite a compliment to have good pitching and teamwork that we've won the games that we have.
Right.
Because to not be able to drive runs in when you have runners on base,
and
it's
also,
a nightmare. You saw the Cards are number 1 in that.
And also, you take into account that, as good as our pitching staff has been, everything in baseball is cyclical. You're going to, you might pitch 3, 4, 5 good games in a row. You're going to have a couple of duds. And, Liriano and Burnett pitched a couple of bad games.
Yes.
One of them against Milwaukee last Thursday night. Liriano pitched a really bad game. And Burnett pitched a bad game on Friday night, So tonight we got Francisco Liriano going up against the Texas Rangers. And this is the interesting part. This is a park that he's familiar with pitching in, because Francisco Liriano pitched in the American League for a lot of years. And they're at the ballpark at Arlington in Texas. And then you've got A.J. Burnett, who also came over from the American League. He pitched for the Yankees. Both of them familiar with that ballpark, and I'm looking for them to bounce back strong.
Well, I hope they're more familiar with getting the hitters out.
Well,
that's what we need, Chip. We need these couple wins. It would be great to do that, to at least put the pressure on the Cards, because we do have a 3-way pennant race.
Yes,
and that's where you do have to watch. There is some strategy to this. You have to get those wins. And I'm worried that even though we go down to the last 3 games with the Reds, St. Louis has such an easy schedule. Sure, anybody can get beat, but when you have a record, they don't steal bases, they don't hit many home runs, but they drive people in. That's what wins you the baseball games.
Right.
And they've done that.
And then the problem that the Cardinals have right now, and their pitching has been suspect. Their ace, Adam Wainwright, has had a streak of real bad games. He pitched a good game against the Pirates the other night. Alan Craig, their first baseman, who's leading Major League Baseball with a .450 batting average with runners in scoring position, is on the disabled list, and he's banged up. Yadier Molina, their MVP candidate, has got a gimpy knee. And is he going to make it through to the end of the year? Because they're a different team with him in the lineup as opposed to him not.
Hey, when you're looking at the championship, these guys are going to play all the way out. Think about it.
But I think, we really have a legitimate chance to win the division. And I think, that the Pirates, at one point, any of us would have said, 82 wins this year, they would consider that, we have a parade. And as the season has progressed and we see the kind of team that we've put on the field, 82 wins is nice, and it's kind of nice to put that rest, that talk about the streak and the collapse and all that other BS. But this team, and honestly, this is no joke, has the ability to go all the way and win the World Series this year, because they are as good as any team in Major League Baseball. Once they make it to the playoffs, it's anybody's game. You remember the year that Cowher won the Super Bowl with the Steelers? They won their last 6 games in a row. Nobody picked them to win, and they went in as a wild card.
Right.
And they came in, and they just peaked at the right time.
That was coaching.
How about the players? You need the players. Like right now, we got to quit having the power outage. There's a month to go. No, we need power. We need hitting. We need some runs.
We need hitting.
That's what we need. We need just the pitching to be similar to what we've had.
We need pitching, and we need good defense. And what the Pirates can't afford to do, they can't afford to make mistakes. Sound, fundamental baseball will get them through to where they need to be.
Well, there you have it. I think we beat that subject up pretty well. So we'll move on. We got Pitt playing this weekend. What do you think about Pitt on Saturday? Can they come back? What do you think, Smokey
Yeah, I
Jim?
think they got. I'm not sure who they play this week.
New Mexico, are they the Lobos or the Aztecs or some
Ooh.
kind of?
Okay, they bounce back. They bounce back this week.
Well, here's the thing that causes me concern. The Pitt is a 21-point favorite. Well, I'd like to see them score 21 points. No, but
Well, maybe they'll start out like last game. They scored first, but then they'll score again.
Yeah.
And again. So maybe that'll help.
Well, and I hope that they, this is the kind of game that you would expect the University of Pittsburgh to win and to win handily.
Right.
And that's what they really have to do. They have to take care of business. No, them losing to Florida State wasn't anything like Pittsburgh Steelers losing to the Titans. Florida State's a nationally ranked team. They won the Sugar Bowl. They won the ACC last year. They're a recognized power. They get a lot of athletes. But no, this is like, I used to scratch my head when Pitt would go and play the University of Buffalo and beat them by a field goal, or they'd go play UConn. UConn hadn't had a football team for very long. And Pitt's
But they played Toledo, and Bruce Gradkowski would beat them.
Youngstown State beat them last year.
Youngstown State.
Yeah, so this is one of those games that
good-
Pitt really
good call.
needs to. They need to come up and play the game, and they can't because here's what's going to happen if they let this team stick around and stick around and stick around, and what's going to happen is there's going to be a turnover, there's going to be a play that's going to change the outcome of the game.
We've seen it happen too many times.
They
if
need
you
to
keep them in
bury
the
them.
game.
They need to bury them in the first half, and keep stomping on them
Yeah.
the entire second half.
I
And
agree.
I'd like to see Paul Christ's team do that.
Well, the good thing I heard him say, all this extra practice, they're using it to their advantage. So that was a quote.
Okay.
I'm glad about that.
Okay, you know what though? I mean, they only practiced from last January until Labor Day. He still don't run out of the stadium.
No comment.
Still needed more practice.
Let's move on to high school football in the Smoking Jim's wheelhouse here. What's going on with the high school football, buddy? Who are you looking at for this weekend?
Well, high school football, probably the biggest game on paper this week is probably South Fayette, who's undefeated, playing an undefeated Steel Valley team. Steel Valley got the running game this year, and South Fayette got the passing
Now,
game.
you're sitting over by Little Z's
Little-
chair, so you
Little
got to
Z.
support there a little bit with Steel Valley.
And I don't think anybody would be disappointed in Steel Valley when they lose. They're used to it.
Excuse me? I got to speak up for Little Z. Anybody watching this show, Little Z would take umbrage at that, my friend.
So look for South Fayette to beat Steel Valley, and don't forget now Rivals.com has Gateway ranked number 23rd in the nation.
In the nation.
So look for Gateway to move up a little bit. They play Kiski area this week. So look for Gateway to
Is it at home?
stomp a mud hole in the
Really?
Kiski area.
All right, you heard it
who's
first.
Central Catholic playing this weekend?
I'm not sure who Central Catholic is playing this week.
But I got a little tip from somebody that they're the team to look at in the Quad A this year.
Well, there's a couple things with for Central Catholic this year. Not only are they tough, not only do they recruit, but they also have a couple of surprises on their team. Their best wide receiver is Schaefer Swan, Lynn Swan's son. So who would have ever thought Lynn Swan would have a son that could catch the football? And one of their best running backs is Grant Foster, Barry Foster's son. So
Really?
who would ever think Barry Foster would have a son that could run? So Central got it all, and they got probably the best quarterback in the state who's going to Florida State. You don't get recruited to Florida State, and Chip caught him before anybody even knew him. Who knew? If Florida State recruits
And
you,
that was in a game that he lost. I was just looking at this young man, and I was like, holy cow. He's a whole head taller than everybody else on the field. And he just had a big arm,
Another one of those young men among boys.
And you know
see
who
those guys.
you know who went to Central before, right?
Yes, we do.
Dan Marino,
Danny
Mark
Marino.
Bolger.
A lot of quarterbacks in this neighborhood. Definitely. Keep an eye out. Hey, then there's some boxing announcements. Rod Salka was doing a little boxing today. He's going to be defending his championship in Greentree on October 12th. So it looks like a great night of boxing out in Greentree there. Then Jose Carabella, the Puerto Rican Prince, he has a fundraiser going on in Sharpsburg at Van Ness Grill on October 4th. We might want to head out to that. As part of the food and things that you buy there, some of that will go to helping to fund his boxing, the Ray Schaefer Boxing Association.
Were they trying to raise money to put a stoplight in Sharpsburg?
They have one or two, the way I'm familiar with it. Hey, and don't be talking about the mayor that we met, Mayor Richard Panza there. You know, that's your new best buddy there.
It sure is.
He was jumping up in the ring. No, it's a great group out there. Jose's getting another fight ready, so they're looking for a fight end of October, early November. So
hopefully
stay
Master
tuned with
G
that.
will come back.
Master G and the Sugar Hill Gang,
Yeah.
right? And if you're not watching our show, it's been posted up on Facebook, Pittsburgh Sportsline. Last weekend we had unicycles, we had boxing, Golden Glove boxing that we showed again, then the SIP Sports Bar show, and our Pittsburgh Sportsline. So if you can't sleep and you're an insomniac, on Thursday and Friday, sometimes you'll see our show as late as 3:45 in the morning, Smoking Jim.
Oh, yeah.
And Chip, too, when you're getting up,
Yeah,
you might be able to see us
I might see my ugly mug on the television set, huh?
Yeah, give us a report on that. Call in 412-831-3304. And we covered that. Hey, unicycles, I think they're supposed to have their championship, their national championship in Montreal next year. So I don't think we'll be filming it, Smoking Jim. I don't know if you have your passport yet, buddy. If we want to go to Canada, we'll have to get passports.
They ain't letting you out of the country. Hey, you want to
there's
go
some good Canadian football players.
You want to go to our football picks for the week?
I'm saving you the couple minutes to get it. Let's do the football picks now.
All right, here's what we need to do. There's 16 games. Pick a number between 1 and 16.
Number 2.
Okay.
Terrell Pryor's number.
Okay, and then pick another one.
Ooh, number 11.
Number 11. Alan.
7.
Okay.
1.
Okay, and I'm going to take. No, look, I'm not even looking.
Okay.
I'll take 5 and 9.
Okay.
Okay. And okay,
Pull
so
the
Alan's
Smoking
going.
Jim move.
No.
I'm teasing you.
No, because actually,
No, I just thought about
5 and 9. Okay, Alan, your first one's the Jets at New England.
New England.
Wow.
Oh, did I think
Wow,
about it?
right in the wheelhouse.
Okay, Smoking Jim, yours first. The St. Louis at Atlanta.
St. Louis at Atlanta?
Mm-hmm.
Atlanta.
He takes the ATL. Chip's got Washington at Green Bay, and I will go with the Green Bay Packers.
Wow.
I'm not a big RG3 fan. He's
Me
on my
neither.
fantasy
Don't
team.
get Smoking Jim
Well, he's
started.
on my fantasy team, and anybody want to make a trade? Okay, the next one is Alan. He's got Dallas at Kansas City.
Oh, man, that's
Ooh.
a tough one there.
Ooh, flip a coin.
I don't like Dallas. I'm going Kansas City.
Alan with the KC. Okay,
And you said at Kansas
Chip has
City.
got Tennessee at Houston, and I'm going to roll with the Houston Texans again this
4-0.
week.
4-0, Chip.
Yeah, I'm going to roll with the
man.
Houston Texans. And Smoking Jim's got Detroit at Arizona.
Oh, we know that.
Genius,
Arizona.
you're taking a genius.
Arizona.
He's taking a genius.
There's no way he goes against that.
Okay. And then, I got my upset special pick, and I am
Whoa.
picking the Steelers to beat the Bengals. I said that at the earlier part of the show. And I particularly didn't pick that one, as part of my my picks here.
Who you got for the Steelers and Bengals? I got Bengals.
Oh, me, I
And
don't
you're
know
wearing
yet.
that orange. You're wearing that orange.
I need a win because I'm going 11-5. I got to go Steelers.
Okay.
Hey, so here Jim's going Bungles.
I got to go Steelers.
Okay, check back with us next week. We'll see where we're at with the standings. We each have
No,
a
these
bonus
are just
pick this
friendly
week.
bets.
These
Don't
are
go
friendly
call your
bets.
bookies up, Smoking Jim,
No.
and bet the house on Arizona.
Jay, if you want to
please.
lose all your money, take my bets, okay?
Except this year, he's on a roll.
Hey.
Looks like 4-0
I tell you what, watching this Pirate team, this team reminds me of the team of the mid '80s. After the drug trials and the Pirates fell apart, and then Jim Leland came in and he started rebuilding the Pirates,
Yeah.
and they went a couple of seasons where they would battle with the Mets, and then finally, in the late '80s and the early '90s, they started winning division championships, and I kind of, It's been fun to watch. I'm telling you what, I'm really glad that I bought season tickets. I've been watching them from opening day throughout the season, and there's been highs and lows, and I've never given up faith in them. And it's really a lot of fun to watch how the city has rallied around this team. Because in April when we're sitting there with our long underwear on and blankets wrapped around us, cooking weenies on a fire built in front of the seats in front of us. I'm sitting there looking, and the stadium's a third of the way full. And it's funny, I was saying to the people that are season ticket holders in our section, I'm like, watch, as the year goes on, they keep on winning. These seats are going to fill out. And now you can't buy a seat.
Really?
Oh, yeah. The games are sold out. It's so much fun to just sit there, and it's like the ninth inning, and nobody's left, It's,
Do you have your Jolly Roger yet, or you don't buy the Jolly Roger?
No, my wife doesn't let me play with sticks.
Okay.
She's afraid somebody might get their eye poked out.
I remember your story about the baseball bat that you got free.
So does Steph.
Yeah. So.
She doesn't want to be on the receiving end. I love my wife, but I'm a little clumsy. What can I say?
Those things happen there. Hey, we're getting ready to wind down the show. We've got the last few minutes here. And anything you want to bring up, Smoking Jim, that you might have on your mind here that you're doing, or what else? You got something going on. I've been holding it back. You got some boxing going on. If you want to announce Saturday boxing, Mayweather.
Oh, yeah. I tell you what, thanks, Al Levine, to talk about
Trying to help you, buddy.
Yeah, we're going to get the Pittsburgh Sports Line. We're going to get all our fans together, and we're going to go watch Canelo Alvarez knock out Money Mayweather. So come on out. It's going to be a great Saturday for me because my new favorite football player, the arrogant, cocky Johnny Football Manziel, the cockiest player since Deion Sanders, will beat Alabama earlier in the day. The Pirates may win later on in the day.
And
Pitt will win earlier.
And then Canelo Alvarez will knock out Money Mayweather.
We may be over to watch after we watch the Pirates.
Come on over. I can't wait.
Beat the Reds.
Well, I'm hopeful with those wins with boxing. I'll leave it to my experts.
And Al Levine will keep them dollars in his pocket.
Yeah, hang on to your money. Hang on to your money there. We shall see what happens there. I don't know what you mean. Where's this venue located at? Upper Strip District or something.
You got the strip part right.
That's what I thought. So we're not doing it's an adult-themed football and boxing like it is because it's pay-per-view.
Yeah, it is.
And Smoking Jim knows how to get into those free pay-per-views. So we'll report on that later. We're getting ready to Chip. What else do you have here, buddy?
I got just a little reminder to everybody. October the 5th, my wife and I are sponsoring a team for the Alzheimer's Walk, the Walk to End Alzheimer's. It'll be down at Heinz Field. Saturday, October 5th. I've got a link on my Facebook page, Chip Hayner at Facebook.com. If anybody's interested in donating or if they're interested in registering and joining our team for the walk, the team's name is Team Gina Bell. It's in honor of my mother who passed last fall, who had dementia, Alzheimer's, and it's a worthy cause, and we're looking to represent well. So,
Well, Chip, I'll put the links up on Pittsburgh Sports Line on Facebook like I had. My mother passed away due to complications back in '88 with Alzheimer's, so I do believe in that. I've donated before to the Alzheimer's organizations, and we'll support you on that. And
appreciate that.
We'll put that out there. And I want to thank all of you for watching our show. We're getting great feedback from the local community. Made some new friends that they said they'd watch the show, so welcome to the show. And for everybody else that's watching us later on through the week, thanks. We appreciate it. Thanks to Bethel Park and Dave Cable again and all the great volunteers here for doing this. Have a nice night.